So Byron, you're so intimidated by a microphone. It's hilarious. Scarf over it or something?
You're trying to be sneaky there with that device?
Yeah, you have no idea. It's right in front of you right now, do you?
I saw some mysterious object there.
Yeah. So make sure this, the trouble that this is recording. Oh, we only have 5 minutes on this tape. So what did you think of the books in the library today?
You know, I really enjoyed looking at them. I enjoy every magician's library. I always find a few things I haven't seen before. I've managed to acquire a lot over the last 35 years, but every magician has a few books I haven't seen before or haven't had a chance to acquire.
I'm actually amazed to hear that, because how many books to your estimation do you have?
I never counted them.
You probably couldn't at this point.
The first collection I bought of any size was Lloyd Jones' collection. And I didn't count the books, I measured them, because I had to know how many feet of bookcase to build.
Wow.
It was 300 linear feet of books. I just measured the length of the books, so I had built over about 320 feet of a bookshelf. I thought, well, okay, I have 20 feet of grow room. Well, 20 feet of grow room didn't last very long. That was filled up very shortly, so I never counted them.
Wow. Well, it's got to be in the tens of thousands, though.
I guess. I bought the Margaret Yates collection out of Australia, and she had 4,000 books. I only know that number because she counted them, and she sent me a list of 4,000 books. I bought the Jim Reed collection of gambling books, and he had 2,000 books. Again, I only knew that because he counted them and had cards on them. So that's the only reason I know how many. So.
Was there a way to double check what you got when you make a purchase that big, though? I mean,
I checked off. There's always a number of the most valuable books, the ones you really want.
Yeah.
The ones worth the most money, or the ones you don't have, or the ones you haven't seen before. So I always look for those. As far as the common stuff like a Dover book, who cares?
Mm-hmm. So you do just kind of spot check and make sure you got
sure the good stuff is there.
Yeah. And so even in my library, which I think is only around 1,000 books, that includes the pamphlets and things, you actually saw some things that, I mean, did you really see anything in there you hadn't seen before? Or you just saw maybe some things that were more rare?
Well, there's a couple of sort of unusual items on juggling and things like that I haven't really concentrated on, although it's a light art to magic.
Sure.
Let's go through the secret entrance.
Let's take a look at the juggling books Mr. Byron Walker was interested in. The Juggler's Manual of Manipulative Miscellanea. The Classic Skills with Top Hats, Canes, Plates, Nesting Cups, and Assorted Objects by Reginald W. Bacon, a.k.a. Mr. Slim. Copyright 1984. Dr. Droppo's Juggling Buffoonery by Bruce Fife. Copyright 1988, Java Publishing Company. To the official guide to the nuttiest sport ever, how to be a goofy juggler. A complete course in juggling made ridiculously easy by Bruce Fife. Squeak Easy by Dan Garrett, 1992. Contact Juggling by James Ernest, 2nd edition, 1990. Fire Eating, a manual of instruction by Benjamin Garth with Jeffrey W. Cohen, Brian Dubay, New York. Copyright 1993.
Yeah. Do you know many magicians who also juggle?
Not very many. Not very many.
But you do get requests for juggling books and related arts?
Yeah, not an awful lot, but a couple. Yeah. I have a spot on my website for juggling books, and I had a few there, and they're about depleted. So I thought if you wanted to part with a few that are duplicates, I might add them to the website and sort of pick up my juggling clientele, but not important.
I find when I read a lot of those juggling books, I drop them.
Yeah, always practice over a bed.
Right. That's true. That was the first tip I learned from the Klutz Book of Juggling. And it was not only a silly picture of a guy wearing a bathtub around his body, so he wouldn't have to bend down, but it was actually a very valuable tip that I used for a lifetime.
I don't think you saw many that weren't dented back in those days.
That's right, yeah. Oh, I went to India and they were making them out of unbreakable plastic. And the guy who sold it to me goes, "Yes, watch." And he bounces it off the ground. I go, "Okay, I'll buy that for $5, however many rupees that was." Well, I come home and my buddy comes over and I say, "Hey, check out this unbreakable zombie." I throw it on the ground, it cracks and breaks.
He probably switched balls with you.
Yeah, right. Totally examinable. No switches. Yeah. So you were just telling me that the most valuable magic book to most people is Hilliard's Modern Magic?
Greater Magic.
Greater Magic.
I think if a person had his choice of only one magic book, that's the one that the majority of magicians would choose, Greater Magic.
Yeah, and based on what? Why would they choose that?
Size, quality of the material, breadth of material, covers all subjects.
Was that in the late 1800s?
No, it was 1938 was the first edition.
Oh, okay. That was right when Houdini was starting to gain...
No, he died in 1926.
Well, you didn't let me finish. Starting to gain the maggots and things that were eating away at his decayed flesh.
Yeah. Very good covering there, Mike. Very good
That's
covering.
in my book, Outs.
Okay, yes. For magicians, it was $12.50 when it came out, which was a lot of money for a magic book then, but it was 1,000 pages, so it wasn't overpriced. It's just that the lay public wasn't going to spend $12.50 for a magic book, which is probably like a couple hundred today.
Oh, okay. I see. So it was a very serious magic book at the time.
Back in those days, I had a paper route, and I was making big money. I made $17 a month, and that was pretty good money. I was the richest kid I knew.
Yeah.
And I bought a copy of Greater Magic. That's how I met Pete Byron in high school. I didn't know he was interested in magic. He didn't know I was interested, but he had a copy of Hugard's Modern Magic Manual there along with his school books. I said, "Oh, I'm interested in magic too. Can I take a look at that one?" He said, "No, it's for magicians only." I said, "Well, I've got a Greater Magic." He said, "You do?" That's how we got acquainted.
Oh, that's fantastic.
I was king of the hill with my Greater Magic.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. And that was, as you say, a sizable investment for the time. Wow.
He's good at that.
So Byron, you're so intimidated by a microphone. It's hilarious.
The Oakland Association of Magicians, also known as the OMC, was founded in 1925. The Oakland Magic Circle is the oldest continuing magic club in the western United States, with over 85 years of uninterrupted operation. It was one of the first places I visited when I moved to California in 1984. It was the first magic auction I ever attended. It was the first place I ever bought a tuxedo. And it was one of the first places to host one of my magic lectures.
Really? And how do they come in? Are they hosted by...
I don't know. People tell other people. They come in and we try to, "Oh, would you like to join? Here's an application blank. Fill it out." "Okay, great. Now give me $25." And they're so we.
Oh, that's
awesome.
That's one last book I wanted to show you was the Jinx, and boy, is that guy was so opinionated. Not animated, but who took it over? His name's on the tip of my tongue.
No, Anima had it all the time.
No, this is the new Jinx. So after Anima passed away, this other man who had a pen name...
Bill Madsen.
Bill Madsen.
Oh, okay.
Very opinionated fellow. I want to show you the
Yeah.
bound collection.
What is the thing about Erdnase?
All of a sudden, he's hot as can be.
Yeah, but is one of the mysteries that we don't really know who he is?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Sanders.
Huh?
Erdnase?
Yeah. Erdnase?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, so
maybe, yes. I know all about that. I was invited to the Erdnasium up in Montana, but I didn't go. But I don't know. It could be. But the information is very sketchy. Yes, I've read the articles in Genie. I went to the conference on magic history and heard, what's the guy's name? Mike Vance's friend that got all the information up there. Heard him talk about it. But it's still very sketchy. Proof. He bought 6 decks of cards to go on a trip. Well, he went to the mining camps where he could sell cards, buy them for a dime and sell them for $1 up there. So it doesn't mean anything. And he used to kind of transpose the letters in his name. Well, a lot of people do. They transpose the letters of their name for fun, or they don't like the original name, they changed it a little bit. This is the kind of proof he came up with. And he thought he had a card trick, that mutant, in that 5 Latin name, mutant nomus dedit, something or other card trick. He had something like that, but he had it wrong, so that was his proof. Well, that doesn't prove he was Erdnase. It was very sketchy.
I see.
And he happened to live about the right time, and he was fairly articulate, apparently. He did write some books on mining, but this is not really proof. So
a lot of fantasy and projection in there.
yes, a lot of could have been, but it's just not proof. It's just possible.
And this whole switching your name around, could that be a red herring to throw somebody off the track, or are we just putting too much?
Well, he wouldn't have
into
thrown. If he was not Erdnase, he wouldn't have been trying to throw somebody off the track. But he did kind of play with the letters of his name.
Yeah.
But he never really put out Erdnase. So he had other similar things. So I don't know.
What makes him so famous?
Part, as Jeannie says, is the mystery of not knowing for sure who it is.
Yeah.
And it was a very advanced book. I mean, it was a great book for that, for
Now we're
1902.
talking about Expert at the Card Table?
Yes,
Okay.
that's who you're talking about, right? Yeah.
Erdnase,
Yeah. It was a great book for
I wasn't
1902.
sure if is that the only book he's attributed to writing?
As far as we know,
Okay.
we don't know.
All right.
He had his name on it, but we don't know. I mean, there's a lot of speculation that the magic section was written by James Harto. There's a lot of speculation about that. And there have been a couple of people that claim they knew him, but they're all dead now. But they said they met him, so they tried to track it down.
Everybody who knew him is dead now.
Very suspicious. Well, back in 1930 something or other, Martin Gardner tried to track it down, so he got a hold of Marshall D. Smith, who did the illustrations. So he found Marshall D. Smith and brought him to a magic convention and interviewed him. But his description of did not match that of the other previous candidate, Milton Franklin Andrews. So I don't know, but I don't know if it matched. I don't know exactly what Sanders looked like. I don't know. It's probably been written down what he looked like, but I don't remember.
So this has to be one of the most mysterious tomes in magicdom.
Yeah, who wrote it? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Are there any other books that have such an interesting backstory to them?
Well, there are some other books that are written anonymously, but none of them had the impact that Erdnase. I mean, people are still studying Erdnase. I mean, look at the annotated Erdnase by Ortiz, or Revelation and Revelations by Vernon on Erdnase. They're still talking about Erdnase, still studying them.
Is it because the techniques were just so out of the blue for the time?
Advanced. Stuff that hadn't been in print before.
Yeah.
But yet there are a few moves there that were not in there, like the spread was a famous gambling move, was not in Erdnase, so he didn't know it all. Or maybe he just didn't use it all.
Yeah.
Or maybe because it took 2 people he didn't put it in. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess it'll remain an eternal mystery. Yep. That's good. Magicians need mysteries too.
Exactly.
Now they...